Yeah. Oh, yeah. We are going to Jerusalem, where the streets full of boys and girls. Yeah. And the redeemed of the Lord will rule with Christ and live forever.
The people that are watching us live on the internet, good afternoon. And as always, I'm glad to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. We are going to get right to this lesson, sisters and brothers. The title of this lesson is From the Wilderness to the Kingdom. From the Wilderness to the Kingdom. It's kind of like a continuation of last week's lesson, where we went from Zechariah to the wilderness. So we're kind of going from the last king that Israel ever had until the setting up of the kingdom of the Lord. I thought I had liked these, no man. Didn't change their mind? Do I have to turn these lights on again? Good. You better get instruction from your boss, man, before you give me more orders. I need to fire somebody. This is kind of continuation, because it showed where the last king we ever had was Zechariah, down to the coming of Jesus, to the wilderness, sisters and brothers. Now, most people think that when Jesus comes, he is going to go to Jerusalem. I'm talking about most of the people that know that the Lord is coming to the earth. But the Lord is not going directly to Jerusalem. He is going to the wilderness. He's going to do the same thing that he did when he brought Israel out of Egypt. And contrary to what everybody else thinks, the Lord is coming to this earth, sisters and brothers. He is not going to stop up in the air or in the sky and rapture people off and take them back to heaven. He is going to come here, and he is going to the wilderness, and he is going to be in the wilderness for 3.5 years teaching before he even take anybody to the land. But we're going to deal with it. And the reason that stuff like this is not taught about, sisters and brothers, because we have been taught by the Gentiles. Gentiles are simply not interested in what happened to Israel, not interested in what the Lord is going to do on the earth, because their God is the God that's going to take them to heaven. But the fact of the matter is, sisters and brothers, everything is centered around Israel, and Israel's God, who said that he is going to come here. But before he come here and set up in Jerusalem, though, he is going to set up in the wilderness. And before the Lord come, there's going to be a time upon this earth that's called the Great Tribulations. And what the Lord is going to do before the Great Tribulation start, he is going to get his people that have some understanding of the main body of his church. He is going to get these people to a place that's called a place of safety. But in order for you to get here, you must have some understanding, sisters and brothers. Now we're going to start this in Revelation, the 12th chapter. Here in Revelation, the 12th chapter, it talks about the Lord's true church, which is Israel. But there are other people that can be a part of this true church by reason of the fact that they walk with God, keep his laws and his statutes. Then they become spiritually Israel. But this church, sisters and brothers, is the one that the Lord is going to protect. This church is the one that's going to flee from the dangers to come because of knowledge. If you have some knowledge, then you know what to do at the time to do it. But if you don't have any knowledge, you're going to get caught up in a time on this earth that's going to be so terrible until it can't happen but one time, and one time alone. So we're starting at Revelation, the 12th chapter, and this is talking about Israel. 12:1. Go ahead.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven.
A
woman clothed with the sun.
Go ahead.
And the moon under her feet. And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now, this represents Israel, sisters and brothers. The moon represents Jacob, the father of Israel. So the sun, rather, represents Jacob, the father of Israel. The moon represents the mother of Israel, his wife, and the 12 stars represent the 12 tribes, or the 12 sons of Israel that make up the 12 tribes. So This is a nation, sisters and brothers, says, travailing in birth to deliver. Go ahead and read.
And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
Go ahead.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
Uh-huh.
And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns,
Go ahead.
and 7 crowns upon his head.
Uh-huh.
And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which is ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Now this woman was Israel, sisters and brothers, and the child that she was travailing to bring forth is Jesus. Most people don't understand, and all these churches don't understand that Jesus was an Israelite that came by way of the tribe of Judah. So he would be called a Jew. So when Jesus was going to be born, Satan stood in the person of Herod the king and the Roman Empire to try and catch Jesus and kill him. But Herod didn't know that he was working for Satan. All he knew is somebody said that there was going to be a king of the Jews that was born, and he knew he was the king because the Romans had made him king, and he wanted to kill this king. So the whole thing about it is, so that Satan stood before the woman in the person of the Roman Empire and individually in the person of Herod. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read.
And she brought forth a man-child,
Uh-huh.
who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron.
And she brought forth the man-child, not one that's going to rapture you off this earth, but who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. Because Jesus is going to come and he's going to run this earth, sister and brother. This is something that you have not been taught out of whatever church you came out of. He's going to rule the nation with the rod of iron. Go ahead and read.
And her child was caught up unto God,
Uh-huh.
and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness.
Now, once Jesus came, he died for the sins of the people because he was a sin offering. Then he rose from the dead, and he went on back to heaven, and he is sitting on the right hand of the Father right now, pleading our cause, because now he is the high priest. But now this thing jumps clean to the end of prophecy, sister and brother. And the woman did what? Go ahead.
And the woman fled into the wilderness,
Uh-huh.
where she had the place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days.
So that is 3.5 years, sister and brother. So this woman represents Israel. Out of Israel came Jesus. Now it is time for the Lord to bring great tribulation on this earth. So what did he do? He's going to take his church, which is Israel, and all of the Gentiles, the strangers that become spiritual Israel, and they're going to take them to a place that's called a place of safety. And the ones that don't make it, they're going to have a problem. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Skip down to verse 13. Verse 13. Because now you have Satan that's bound to the earth, and he is trying to do everything he can to hurt the Lord's true church. Go ahead and read.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
Uh-huh.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle.
Go ahead.
That she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished 4 times, and a half a time from the face of the serpent.
Now, Satan gonna try to catch the true church, the true servants of God, Israel, that have some knowledge, and the Gentiles that's among them that have some knowledge. He is going to try and catch us before we get to the wilderness. But the Lord is going to help Israel. When he said you're going to give her wings of an eagle, don't mean that the whole nation is going to be running around with bird wings. It means that with his power, he is going to deliver us, no matter where we are, if we have knowledge and exercise this knowledge by taking on and recognizing the transportation that he has. And he's going to take us to the wilderness. Go ahead and read.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Now this is talking about an army here. Going to try to catch her. Go ahead and read.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Uh-huh.
And the earth helped the woman.
Go ahead.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
So now the dragon couldn't lay a finger on this woman, on the true church. So because of that, he's really mad now. Go ahead and read.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Go ahead.
Which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Now that is the beginning of the great tribulation, sister and brother. So once once this dragon, Satan the devil, through his organization, because it is an organization, because the devil ain't running around nowhere. He operates through people. He have formal organizations set up. he have an organization set up that we call the European Economic Community. So through his organization, being that he couldn't catch up with the true church, those of us that have some understanding, that know about the wilderness, that know about all of the signs and know when to run and where to run, then he's going to turn on her seed. Who are seeds? People that still keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus. But somewhere along the line, they missed the connection between here and the place of safety, or wherever they are in the place of safety. For some reason, somewhere in their mind, they probably, well, you know, the Lord's going to protect me anywhere I am because I'm a servant. Sisters and brothers, I'm here to show you that that is not necessarily the case. So when the Lord allows Satan to turn on this woman's seed, I'm going to show you how he is coming and what his organization is going to look like. And that he is actually going to succeed, sisters and brothers, for a time. Let's go into Revelation, the 13th chapter. Next chapter, Revelation 13, and we're going to start at verse 1. Revelation 13 and 1. This is the organization that Satan is working through. And it's going to tell you. Go ahead and read.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Now this beast represents the nation, sisters and brothers. In fact, this is the one that I wrote the book about, the 4 winds of heaven. What do it mean 7 heads and 10 horns? First head was the Babylonian head, because this is a Gentile dynasty, the first nation that ruled the whole world by itself. Then after that came the Medo-Persia, and that was another head. Then after that came the Greek, but the Greek had 4 heads, sisters and brothers. The Greek had 4 heads, and then after that came the Roman Empire, which means 7 heads. So this is where this whole thing come from. And to tell you the truth, this is the resurrection of the Roman Empire or either the resurrection of the Babylonian Empire. But either way you look at it, it is the times of the Gentiles. Mm-hmm. So he rose up and he had characteristics of every empire that the Gentiles reigned. Go ahead and read.
And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
So he had 10 horns, and each one of those horns was a ruler of a particular country. That's why you have them in the Western Europe now. These 10 are controlling the whole Western Europe. In fact, we know the name of them, and we had a lesson not too long ago. We named them all. In fact, the whole Western Europe called them the 10. And this is not something that we discovered here lately. I've been talking about it myself for at least 43 years. The 10. And each one was a ruler. And now, let's see where they got their power from. Go ahead and read.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
That was a part of the Greek Empire. Go ahead and read.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Part of the Medo-Persian Empire. Go ahead and read.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
That is part of the Babylonian Empire, and he had 10 horns, which made him part of the Roman Empire. Go ahead and read.
And the dragon gave him his power, his seat, and great authority.
So where did he get his power from? The dragon, which is Satan the devil. He gave him his power, his seat, and great authority. He can do great things in the name of Satan the devil. But the only thing is, he's dealing in the name of the Lord. Go ahead and read.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed.
That's the Roman head. And the reason I know is because everyone that joined this thing had to sign a treaty. And what is it? It's called the Treaties of Rome. Nothing has changed. It's just that we are not informed. We've been locked up in churches, being full of the Holy Ghost, being taught by Gentiles, and we don't have a clue what's going on. Go ahead and read.
And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast.
Think about it now. The whole world wondered after the beast, and they worshiped the dragon that gave power to the beast. Brother Boy, how is it that they wondered after the beast? You're holding church on Sunday. Beast set that up. Your mama's in heaven. Beast set that up. Jesus born on the 25th day of December. The beast set that up. Christ died on Good Friday and rose Easter Sunday morning. That is the beast, which he got from dragon, Satan, the devil, sisters and brothers. Going to heaven, that is strictly from the beast. You know why? It's because he got it from Satan. You know why? Because Satan got thrown out of heaven, and Satan's whole occupation is to go back. He even said in Isaiah, I'm going to go back. I'm going to be caught up above the clouds. I'm going above the stars. I'm going to sit in the side of the mountain. The only one in the entire Bible said they're going to heaven. God said he coming to earth. And it teaches story every funeral. When you're looking in the box, well, you know, that's not Sister Sarah there. That's just her shell. She is in heaven looking down, smiling. She have made her homecoming. Look, you have a homecoming when you go back to where you come from, don't you? Mm-hmm. The Lord said, the book tells you that God formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life. And the Lord told his man, after you have sinned against him, dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. Because that's where I got you from. So when you go back to the ground, that's your homecoming. But if you go to heaven, that's Satan's homecoming. Y'all understand me? Mm-hmm. Say it every funeral. I said, I wonder, do these people really hear what is being said here? So when you worship the beast, you worship Satan. Sunday, that ain't the Christian Sabbath day. Christ didn't rise on Easter Sunday. Christ rose on Saturday evening just before sundown. And he had to rise there. If he didn't, the whole creation would be out of sync. But we have to understand that. So let's see what he's going to do with all this power. Go ahead and read.
And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast?
Go ahead.
Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
So he's going to blaspheme the word of God. And he was getting power to continue 3.5 years. That's 42 months. That's why the woman had to be in the wilderness for 3.5 years. Because the Lord going to get his church out of harm's way. And he's going to give his angels charge over his church. But this guy going to operate for 42 months or 3.5 years. Go ahead and read.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God.
Go ahead.
To blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
Go ahead.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Go ahead.
And to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
Look, sisters and brothers, this man and his organization that got their power from Satan are going to make war with the saints. Who are these saints? These are the woman's seed that kept the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus, but somewhere along the line, they missed the understanding that they had to go to the wilderness. And when he say he's going to make war and prevail, that means Satan's people going to win for a minute. We have in prophecy tell you, you're going to have people that are, some going to deceive you. Some people going to be beheaded. Some people are going to suffer by the hand of this organization, which we're looking at, the European Economic Community, that is Satan's tool and the religion that's sitting with it. So you say you're a saint? If you are a saint, you better make sure you do one thing, saint. You better get to that wilderness or you're in trouble. It's all that simple. So the Lord telling you what's going to happen. Telling you who's going to make it happen. Telling you who they are working for. Now he's going to tell you when it starts. Let's go into Matthew, the 24th chapter. That's why the Lord tell you everything. There's no need to be uninformed, sisters and brothers. All you got to do is read this Bible. And this Bible is absolute. I really recognized that when I wrote that book, The Four Winds of Heaven, and put it on the scale with history. Everything that it said happened just like it said. The nation came in the order that the prophecy said it would. Even the internal workers of particular nations work like the prophecy said it would. That let me know that you don't take this book lightly, sisters and brothers. The Lord called this thing. And you either going to go with it or you don't. It's not a thing, well, if I don't believe it. The Lord gave you a choice. You know what your choice is? To live or die. There ain't no in between. Gave it to your father in the garden, your father and your mother in the Garden of Eden. One choice, live or die. I'm going to let you choose. But this is all you got to choose for. Life or death. So now, this organization is going to raise up, and they're going to really give us a rough time, give the saints a rough time. So how do you know when it's time for the saints to run, sisters and brothers? Matthew 24, let's start at verse 15. Matthew 24, and we're going to start reading at verse 15. Okay, go ahead.
When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand.
Sisters and brothers, don't you know, most people come from churches, they ain't never heard of an abomination of desolation. And if they had to hear them, a lot of them wouldn't know about it because they say they're New Testament Christians. So he says, spoken of by Daniel the prophet. If you are New Testament Christian, how do you know what Daniel said about this guy? Standing in the holy place. Do you have a clue where the holy place is? This is what I'm saying is knowledge. So now, he could be standing in the holy place, but if you're in one of these churches that don't deal with no prophecy, you could be looking at him. Good things finna happen right now. Because the Holy See then went to the holy Jerusalem. Instead of you ain't even got time to pack your bags when you see that. What does it say here? What verse?
We have verse 16.
Go ahead.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
So now you got people in Jerusalem right now. You got some of our people went over there. Hollering, talking about the kingdom of God is back. This is what the Lord said. When you see this, if you are in Jerusalem, you better run. Go ahead and read.
Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house.
It's so urgent. Until you don't even come down to pack your clothes. You just jump off the roof running. Go ahead and read.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
Whatever you got in the house, if you're in the field, don't go back and get it. The Lord is letting you know the urgency of this time when you see this guy, when you see this happen. Go ahead and read. What verse?
We have verse 19.
Now skip right on. Why is it? Skip right on down to verse 21. 21 and go ahead.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
It didn't say just tribulation. I hear people all the time, well, you know when the tribulation is 7-year tribulation. First thing is it's not 7 years. And the second thing is tribulation. When you just said tribulation, you put anything out there. But when you said great tribulation, such as they have never been since the world began, he said, you better run. Because if you don't, you're going to get caught up in something real big. But if you don't know where to run to, so why are you running? No, you just can't run up and down in your house. You got to know where to run to. Because these times so bad until if the Lord don't cut it short, you got your problem. That's why I tell people all the time. You can always be in the wrong place at the wrong time. If you're in Jerusalem, you got to flee. But if you don't know the signs, you won't even flee because you don't know the signs. He said, there's going to be a time of trouble like there's never been. Go ahead and read.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved.
When the Lord made this prophecy, sisters and brothers, there was no weapon big enough to kill all flesh. But we got plenty of them now, don't we? Everybody got some. Iran is mad because they don't want to let him have one. Russia got nuclear weapon. America got nuclear weapon. Other Eastern Western European nations got nuclear weapon. Israel got nuclear weapon. And Iran said, how come you, even India got one? How come you won't let me have one? Everybody else got one. All of them could destroy the earth, sisters and brothers. But he said, except those days be shortened, there would be no flesh saved. Go ahead and read.
But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
But for the elect's sake, those days going to be shortened, sisters and brothers. But in the meantime, the Lord said, you wrong. And we have lessons, sisters and brothers, to show you the location, geographical location where the place of safety is. We know where to go. Now you know and you find out when to go. Because you ain't going nowhere before the Lord comes. And you get some people, some ministers now and stumble up on this great tribulation. Well, you know, yeah, but what the Lord is, he's going to rapture the church off, see? Just prior to look here, sister and brother. Nothing happened till Jesus come, right? So if you're going to rapture the church off, that means the rapture is going to be made when Jesus is descending, right? Let's see when he's going to come. Skip down to verse 29. Verse 29 and go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days.
Oh, immediately after the tribulation of those days. Go ahead and read.
Shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light.
Go ahead.
And the stars shall fall from heaven.
The sun going to go out. The moon going to go dark. The stars going to fall. Go ahead and read.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Go ahead.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
Yeah, they're going to mourn because they're going to find out that they've been lied to. Then he come. Go ahead and read.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming, and the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
No, he is not coming until after the great tribulation. So somebody lied to their church. You're going to be right here. You're going to go eyeball with the beast and the false prophet for 3.5 years. And you either going to receive that mark of the beast that they are preparing you for on every Ash Wednesday, or you going to get killed, or you're going to get beat up real bad. That's the time, sisters and brothers, that it said that you can't buy or sell unless you have the mark. You can have $100 in your pocket and you can't buy a hot dog. Let me see your mark. I don't have one. Well, your money ain't good. Ain't no good here. That's why I say a time of trouble that has never been, and there shall never be another time. Great tribulation, sisters and brothers. But in the meantime, God's church is going to be in the wilderness. Now let's go and look. Say the Lord's going to come. Let's go look at this coming in the Old Testament. Let's go into Zechariah the 14th chapter. You see, you read 1 Thessalonians the 4th chapter, sisters and brothers. It talks about the Lord descending with the shout of an archangel and the last trump. Then the dead that are in Christ going to rise. And those that are living going to change, and you're going to meet the Lord in the air. But everybody use that and call that the rapture. You're going to meet the Lord in the air. The question is, where do you go from there? Here's what the Lord said you're going to go from there. Zechariah 14:1. Zechariah 14:1. Okay, read.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh.
That's what it's called, the day of the Lord, because that's the day that the Lord is going to intervene in this business of man. Go ahead and read.
And thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. And the city shall be taken.
Go ahead.
And the houses rifled.
Go ahead.
And the women ravished.
That's why the Lord tell you, when you see this guy, you better run. Because he's going to bring a nation up against him. Not only is this guy going to punish you, but then he's going to bring his enemies. He's going to create the Eastern Bloc, and they're going to come in there. They're going to shoot up the houses. They're going to rape your daughters and your wives. In fact, they ain't going to show no mercy. Go ahead and read.
And half of the city shall go forth into captivity. And the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
Go ahead.
Then shall the Lord
let's look at this first. He said, the Lord, this is the day of the Lord. This is when the Lord going to come. And the Lord is letting you know, this is the time I'm going to come. When your house is going to be shot up. Your spouse, your wives, and your daughters are going to be raped. And now I got to come and put an end to this, because if I don't, there ain't going to be no flesh saved. We coming right back here. Put your marker here. We coming right back here. And let's go into Revelation 16th chapter. Revelation chapter 16. Because I want to let you know that this time is written by a whole lot of people. I just can't read them all, but we're going to read several of them today. Revelation the 16th chapter. Because this ain't going to happen but one time, sisters and brothers. 16 and verse 15. Revelation chapter 16, and we're going to start reading at verse 15. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 15. Okay, go ahead.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
See, when these people come and they start shooting up the houses, raping the women, killing like there's no tomorrow, then the Lord said, now, I come quickly. I come as a thief. But he is only coming as a thief to those that don't have no knowledge. He won't be coming as a thief to us, sisters and brothers, because we know when he's going to come. We know the signs that show you when he's going to come. We know the time in which he's going to come. All we're doing is look at the sign. But those that don't have no understanding, he coming on them like a thief. The whole world. You sitting up in there waiting on the rapture, he going to come to you as a thief. But he come now because if he don't come, there ain't going to be no flesh saved. He said he got to cut it short. Go ahead and read.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
So what he do, this is the place of truth. So the Lord is the one that gathered them in the place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. You didn't heard of the war of Armageddon, I suppose. Every now and then in these churches you get a rumor about that. That is the war where the Lord is going to intervene. Because if he don't intervene, there is going to be no flesh saved. Now let's go back to Zechariah the 14th chapter. Because we know this is the same time here. The exact same time. And we're going to start at verse 3. 14, and we're going to start reading at verse 3. Okay, read it.
Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle.
See, nobody pays no attention. Jesus not just going to come and talk soft. He is coming to fight. And he's going to come and fight as he did in the day when he was bringing Israel out of Egypt. Go ahead and read.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east.
So when Jesus comes, he's not going to stop. When he stops, he's going to be on the earth, sisters and brothers. His feet's going to hit the Mount of Olives, which is the last place his feet touched before he left the earth. The last place. And the angels told the apostles that he was coming back in the same place. And what's going to happen to the mountain? Go ahead and read.
And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof, toward the east and toward the west.
Go ahead.
And there shall be a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall remove toward the north.
Go ahead.
And half of it toward the south.
Go ahead.
And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Hazor. Yeah, you shall flee, like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah.
See, because when Jesus returned, he coming in power, sister and brother. And when his feet hit that mountain, the mountain going to split. And he got all them immortals with him, too. And he said, you're going to flee as you fled in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee.
And the Lord's going to come and all the saints. What saints? These are the people that's going to meet Jesus in the air that he talks about in 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. You're going to meet him, and everybody's coming back down. Because the whole thing is here. Didn't we read in Revelation where this woman had a man-child? And he was to rule the earth, all nations with the rod of iron. Because the Lord is coming here, sisters and brothers. He is coming here. What verse was that?
We just finished verse 5.
Skip down to verse 9. And look what's the conditions going to be. Verse 9, go ahead and read.
And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. And that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one.
Now he's going to be king over all the earth. And there's going to be one name now. They ain't going to have all these different names and different gods. Go ahead and read.
All the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. And it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place.
Go ahead.
From Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananiel unto the king's wine presses.
So the Lord's going to make it a plain. That means when Jesus comes, they're going to flatten Jerusalem, sisters and brothers. Everybody that's in there either going to be killed or driven out. It tell you in several places in Revelation that he's going to great hailstones and fire, earthquakes. He's going to clean Jerusalem out. Once Jerusalem is flattened and everybody's swept out, then the Lord is going to rebuild it when he get here. But until that time, sisters and brothers, Jerusalem is the worst place to be. Go ahead and read.
And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited.
Read and say, and it's going to be safely inhabited. But let's read a little more. I just want to look at some of the stuff that's going to happen to people that's going to be there when the Lord comes, that's going to fight against him. Go ahead and read.
And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
Go ahead.
And their eyes shall consume away in their holes. And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
Sisters and brothers, that's some ugly stuff, ain't it? And we ain't talking nuclear. The Lord just going to speak it. And it's going to happen. All of a sudden, you standing there, your eyes just go like somebody pulled some acid in it. The tongue go just deteriorate. Flesh off your bones. All of a sudden, the skeleton is standing there. We ain't ready for nothing like this, sisters and brothers. This is some scary stuff. Finish that.
And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them,
Uh-huh.
and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor.
Now, once the Lord do that, he's going to take down all the nations, sisters and brothers, because he's going to bring them all down. He's going to deal with them one time, because they think that they are coming to fight with one another, what we might call World War III. Mm-hmm. But no, that is the War of Armageddon. And once he do that, he's going to take Babylon down, sisters and brothers. That is the European Economic Community, because it's under three names. It's under Economic Community, but also it's called by the Bible Babylon the Great, and it's also called the Holy Roman Empire. But we don't know, because we don't deal with history. We don't deal with geography. We think the whole ball game is going to be in heaven instead of being here. Altogether different, sisters and brothers. But the Lord is going to come, and he's going to take down all the nations. Let's look at this. Look at what happened when he take them down. Let's go into Revelation, the 19th chapter. Revelation chapter 19. That's why sometimes people come in, this is so hard to them. That's because you haven't been exposed to it. Hang around here, after a while, you're going to be, like you used to say in my day, it's going to be like reading a pre-primer. I think that's elementary here. After you stay here. Then you're going to start talking to people, and after a while, they say, you used to didn't talk like this. That's because I used to didn't know what I know now. So when Jesus take down, who is he taking down? 19 and verse 6. Revelation the 19th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 6. Go ahead and read.
And I heard as it were the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Hallelujah, for the Lord God omnipotent reigneth.
Yes, that's because he have taken down the earth. Remember we read in Zechariah, said the Lord's going to be God over the whole earth. Mm-hmm. Now he is reigning. He is here. Go ahead and read.
Let us be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him. For the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready.
What you mean the marriage of the Lamb? Most people don't understand the marriage of the Lamb. I tell people all the time, every time you decide to do this thing right, and you get baptized in the name of Jesus, I tell them when they come out the water, you just married the Lord. Because you're entering into the covenant. That's what a marriage is a covenant, sisters and brothers. Everybody make promises, and everybody is expected to keep them. So he said, the marriage of the Lamb is here. Go ahead and read.
And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white.
Go ahead.
For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
That's what the fine linen represents, sisters and brothers, clean and white linen, the righteousness of the saints. That means you can clean yourself up. Go ahead and read.
And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God.
So blessed are those that are called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Because the Lamb cannot get married until he get here, sisters and brothers. You can do it now. But this is talking about the time when he's going to bring all nations into the covenant with him. But before this take place, sisters and brothers, this Lamb got to go to the wilderness because that's where his church is. Let's go into Isaiah the 16th chapter. That's where his church is. And that's where he's going to bring everybody through the wilderness. That's why I tell people all the time, Jerusalem is not the place to be now. It is not the kingdom of God. I couldn't understand it anyway. You got somebody over there as a sovereign government that makes all the laws, but you're going to call it the KOG. Come on. God got a pretty weak kingdom. Everybody can run it but him. And the God that I read about in this Bible, when he comes, he's going to be the only one that's running things. And if you don't run it the way he wants you to run it, you don't exist. He will end your existence in a moment. And we're going to show you. This is why people don't understand. They have made Jesus so soft until don't nobody fear him no more. But Jesus is the one to fear. I can't tell the people. The Bible tells you that you ain't never dealt with the Father. That's St. John the 5th chapter.